Okay, so I guess let's officially get started.
All right.
All right, so I am Rose, and I am a co-founder and admin for the Demiurgic server, and I am from the United States.
And I am Kargara. I am a member of the Demiurgic server and also from the US, but currently in Portugal.
All right, and it was Kagra's idea for the topic tonight. And with what's going on in the world at the time of this recording, we've got the situation between Ukraine and Russia, with Russia having invaded Ukraine unprovoked. And we want to talk about this issue, but not so much in the context of the conflict that's going on, because there's so much information already available on that kind of thing. So if people want that information, they can easily find information on what's going on with the situation at any time. What our actual focus on for this is going to be is focusing on kind of the history and the culture of Ukraine and some of the positive things that we've seen come out of Ukraine and the surrounding countries that are helping with refugees and everything. So we're going to try and steer away from too much of like the political talk or talk about the conflict, and just focus on those kinds of things.
The human aspect and just the things that make you have some faith in humanity because of how people are helping each other out in the situation.
Yes, and we'll be referencing a lot of pictures and links that we've been collecting over the last 2 weeks since everything started. And when this video gets posted, you will see a lot of those links or pictures within the video itself. And we'll provide as many links as we can to any humanitarian efforts, should anybody choose to donate to those efforts.
Okay.
Just so that's all out there. Let's see. So well, it was one of the first things that we shared. I was trying to scroll back a little bit.
There's a lot of things.
There's been a lot of things, yes. Should we go ahead and start with more like the history and the things we found in our research, and then kind of dive into that? As you brought up one just a few hours ago, actually.
Oh yeah.
We apologize if we mispronounce any names. We're not fluent in Ukrainian or Russian,
or any Slavic rooted language.
Yes,
at all.
Yep. So bear with us if we mispronounce, and when I edit this, I will try to put the words up on the screen as much as possible so that you guys can see what words we're talking about as well. But something that Kagura found in her research for tonight, that I also found, is hopefully we pronounce this right, Holodomor. And I kind of feel really bad for the Ukrainian people in general, because they've seen so much conflict over the centuries of their history. But the Holodomor like seems like the worst of it, honestly, like the really worst of it.
Yeah. And what makes it so much more devastating is that most people don't even know. I mean, I did not know about this until I was looking around for it. Nobody reads about this in the history books.
Right.
What happened?
Yeah, I didn't know about it either. It's not something that us in the Western world are taught about at all. Honestly, our world history is very broad and limited and lacking, very lacking in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
US history in general too.
yeah, that's not, let's
Mhm.
save that for another podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
So Holodomor translates as there's two ways to translate it, terror famine or the great famine, and it took place in Soviet Ukraine in 1932 to 1933. And there's a lot of debate about a lot of parts of it, from the death toll itself to the causes.
And the reason why it's hard to get hard facts about it is because it was covered up
Yes.
by the people who did a census, which was Soviet Russia under Stalin.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't like the numbers they saw because it showed the truth, and they tried to bury it completely.
Yes,
and they almost succeeded.
A lot of records had been destroyed, or quote unquote misplaced. So it's hard to get a solid estimate. Even now, looking back at those records, there's a lot of disagreement amongst scholars and historians about what the true death toll is and what to count as death, counting towards the famine. Because some historians say, well, you should include infant mortality rates and things like that in it. Others say, well, it should just be only those who actually died from starvation.
As a direct result.
As a direct result, which is actually a very big difference, because if you go by only starvation numbers, it's like 3 million. But if you include everybody that was affected by the famine who died, like infant mortality rates due to malnutrition and things like that, it's between 7 to 10 million.
It's staggering.
Yeah, either way,
even without the indirect results, it's just unbelievably staggering.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like, it's one of those, like, how did the world not know about this? But then again, like, you had world wars going on, and the other Holocaust going on, and everything leading up to that,
completely neglected on this one,
which is incredibly saddening and mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, there's so many of these instances that happen in the world that nobody knows about in the larger world,
since the winners tend to be the ones who write the history.
And of course they don't want it to look bad, so they hide things.
And the reason for why this happened is really just saying it's messed up is just, of course, an understatement. It was basically for Stalin to teach the Ukrainians a quote unquote lesson. That was his reasoning.
Yes.
Because they are the most, I think they are the most important grain producing, at least at that time, Ukrainians were. And Stalin wanted that power, and he wanted to subdue the Ukrainians. And he didn't like the resistance that they put up, so he basically starved them. They had to harvest the grain, but they couldn't eat it. So it's like, I can't imagine looking at the food that you know is right in your hand and not being able to touch it.
Yep. And then, like, on top of that, if they resisted, Soviet Russia actually seized control of the grain producing regions and would kick those farmers out and bring in Russian farmers to take care of the land instead.
Yeah. So they didn't have a choice. They had to let the grain go. So if I was a Ukrainian, I would see it as worse for a Russian to come in and take my place. I wouldn't want to let that happen. So I can imagine for many Ukrainians, they felt the same. no
Right.
matter how much it hurt.
And when this makes it even worse, and this is where I don't see how historians can say, well, Stalin didn't have as much of a role in it as people think, because Stalin, as people started to try to leave Ukraine for surrounding countries with better prospects, Stalin implemented a passport system, and without a passport, those starving citizens couldn't leave their homes even, let alone the country, without risking being interned in labor camps, forced labor camps.
Sheesh.
So either you stayed and you farmed grain that you couldn't then eat, or you ended up in a forced labor camp, which, like, some people, like, depending on how those camps were run, which, I mean, it's Russia, so
they probably weren't fed there either.
Yeah.
But probably forced to work even harder.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, I don't understand how some scholars can go, well, that was just not related to the famine. And it's like, but it really was.
Yeah, it really was. It was genocide. There's no other way around it.
That's another subject of debate with this is, despite the UN and about 25 other nations total signing a declaration declaring this a genocide, scholars debate this on whether it's considered a genocide, whether there's enough of the factors that define, quote unquote, define a genocide in this.
It's sad that it comes down to that sort of thing,
right?
Just
it's unbelievable.
A point blank look at it says it all, but no, they have to fight about it. With this, especially with this historic tie to Russia, you can see, because the Ukrainians know what happened. They remember. That you can see why they fight so hard. I mean, this is just, for them, maybe it feels like a repeat of history on this one. And they fear that what would happen if they got under Russia's control.
Maybe. Oh, I think they absolutely do fear it, because I think there's enough people alive still that remember it, because
would have experienced that. Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, they've only been an independent country for about 30 years, since 1991 is when they signed essentially their Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
So it's only been about 30 years that they've been on their own as a democratic nation. So.
And the situation there is never like they gained independence, but there's always been the threat.
Yes.
It's always there looming.
And just looking through their history, like even going back like centuries, they've never really truly had an extended period of peace like this, except for the last like 30 years, with a few exceptions. There was one revolution after signing their independence, but that was because of corruption with one of their presidential well, I guess he did become president, so one of the presidents. There was some corruption and controversy about that president's election that led to a little bit of a revolt and stuff. So even then,
that was a civil thing. It wasn't involved,
right? It wasn't like international conflict or interterritory conflict. If you go back far enough. But they've just always had some sort of I don't know if overlord is really the right word, but I can't think of a better term either.
And under Soviet rule, they had to, it was a fight for their own existence as a people, a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. A fight not to get assimilated into Russian, the Russian way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I find it really interesting. President Zelensky, he's only been president for 3 years.
Is it only 3?
Only 3. He was elected in 2019. So like, not only like did he get elected right before a pandemic, he's had to deal with a pandemic, and now this, and like, and he's not a politician either. He was an actor before. A comedian too, yes. Before being elected president of an entire country with Russia and China as neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, that's poor guy.
Oh my gosh, is he putting the rest of the world to shame?
Oh, he is though. Like, that's the thing, is like, he might not have any like political training or military training, but he certainly has shown the world what a real leader looks like, honestly. Like,
for reals.
I saw somebody kind of make a veiled reference to Iraq or Afghanistan, whichever one just lost their government to the Taliban.
Afghanistan.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Where their president fled on a plane with all of his money and left them
as
to deal with
the cowards do.
Yes. And so like, people were like, well, he could have gotten on a plane and left with all of his money, or he could be hiding in a bunker somewhere, or, you know, left with his family or whatever. But no, they're still in the country. He's on the front lines fighting with his soldiers. And everything.
Weren't they like offered a quarter to go try and flee the country and form some sort of government outside of there? I think he turned them down, didn't he?
They've been suggested to do so, but at least for the time being, he is not doing that. He feels like it would be abandoning his citizens, and I can understand that. Like, that makes sense with the things that we've seen from the Ukrainian people.
Yeah.
I can understand why he would say that and why he would feel that. And I think, should the fighting get bad enough that he thinks that it would be better for him to do so, he probably will. But at least for the foreseeable future, I don't think we're going to see him flee in any way. I mean,
and if it ever comes to that point, honestly, I would be like, I would still consider that like a super honorable thing, because he's staying as long as he can. He's going to be in there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He's like the unifying figure for the Ukrainian people.
He really is.
So he's kind of like the flag in a way. He can't let that go down. So if that means he has to leave the country to keep the Ukrainian people unified, then that's what he's got to do. But I'm just like so happy to see a leader that's like sticking to his guns and in there and really for the people.
Yes, definitely.
I don't remember ever seeing a leader like that, except in fantasy books. Yeah.
No real world leader, really.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've really seen, not, at least I wouldn't say in our modern times, maybe.
Yeah, not in modern times, that's for sure.
And within the last like week or so, he has survived 3 assassination attempts at the last count.
I did not know about that.
Yeah.
3.
So wow. Like, it seems that Russia knows just how formidable he is as well. So
yep.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the Ukrainian people have him.
Yeah, I am too. Because like any weaker, honestly, than him, and this
The
would not be
outcomes would have
going
been
the
very
way.
different.
Oh, yeah, no, it would have been completely different, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, and stuff. So let's see. I was scrolling back to see all of the stuff that we had posted so far.
Yeah.
Um,
There's so much.
I know.
Oh, I have a fun fact.
Uh-huh.
There's a letter out of the 33 letters of the Ukrainian language. There's
Mhm.
one that looks like an R with a little thing sticking up at the front part of the R. And I guess it sounds like the G in go. Apparently, this letter is only used in the Ukrainian alphabet, and it was banned and forbidden from use during the Soviet rule times because it's just that awesome, and the Soviets couldn't handle it. So, yeah,
That's awesome. I love
yeah.
it.
So, yay, Ukraine! You guys got awesome letters.
Right. um, one of my students asked this week about the conflict as well. Which, I mean, current events, no matter what they are, often get brought up in my lessons by the students, because they're usually curious about like how is the US reacting, and like what do the US people think of a given situation and things like that. And that's what one of them asked on Tuesday was, well, what do the American people think about this whole thing? And I said, we don't understand why Russia is doing this when, I mean, we do understand, but we don't at the same time. When so many of his citizens don't want this, like they don't get why he's doing it either.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't make sense to go to a war your country doesn't want, first of all.
Yep.
But then at the same time, that same student was like, I don't even know why he invaded. Why why do they want Ukraine? And I was like, one of the major reasons is all of the natural resources it has.
Yep.
It's one of the highest producers of a lot of things like coal and metals and chemicals and nuclear fuel raw materials,
Yep.
which can be used for a lot of things, obviously,
Yeah.
that Russia would very much like to have, I'm sure. So there's a lot of things, even like from an agricultural standpoint, there's so many foods that they export as well. They're one of the top grain exporters in the world.
And its location too, just its location alone. It's the corridor between Russia and Europe and
Yep.
going down. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Black Sea right there. It's the Black Sea, right? My
I believe
geography
so.
going off.
We know our geography, I swear.
That was what, 8th grade?
Right? And then just looking at some of the other stuff that I wrote down for culture wise, they have a lot of customs and different things that they observe. A lot of their traditional outfit, the colors and patterns used can mean a lot of different things within their culture. So I thought that was really kind of interesting as well.
Yeah.
And I thought this was kind of funny. So it doesn't get used as much in a serious context now as it did maybe back, a few centuries. But this is for Ukrainian weddings. So the groom, rather than just directly proposing to the bride like you would in modern times, he basically takes her hostage and asks for a ransom as like the dowry. And negotiates with her parents and asks for their blessing. But the bride can also refuse the marriage offer. And if she does refuse, then the parents, as their response, will give the groom a pumpkin. I thought that was the most random yet like awesome thing. Like, here's a pumpkin. Sorry, our daughter doesn't want to marry you.
Have a consolation prize.
Right? And then the actual wedding ceremonies are often group ceremonies with other couples at a church. And the celebrations themselves, words are hard, themselves, can last days or sometimes even weeks. So they really like party a lot with it. And they are a largely Christian country, with a couple of different denominations. The largest one is the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, followed by the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, which practices Byzantine rites, but is often united with the Roman Catholic Church in the country.
And then they also, on the other side, have the Eastern Orthodox. Was it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then let's see, what else did I have written down? Oh, here's another like fun thing. I knew about this one because it's very similar to an Icelandic tradition. It's called the Epiphany Frost, and it's it happens on January 19th of every year, which is a date that is considered Jesus's baptism. And it is also the coldest day of the season. Yeah. What they do is, I think you know where this is going. They jump into the freezing water on January 19th because it is believed that between the cold water and it being Jesus's baptism, they believe that the water becomes holy and therefore like has the power to heal or prevent illness. So they do it as a healing ritual as well. They jump into freezing water, swim around a bit, and then get back out.
Oh my gosh! It's the polar bear plunge with a religious twist.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. We actually have the polar bear plunge in Iowa as well. It gets turned into a fundraising event. So like you have sponsors for your plunge and everything too.
Nice.
So yeah, we have that.
I think they have one here too, but yeah, I'm going to stay inside. Yeah.
Right? Like no,
I don't do good in winter.
Yes.
Not a winter person.
And then what else did I find? Since they produce a lot of different foods, food is a big part of their culture as well. And especially being a Christian nation, Easter and Christmas meals are a pretty big deal. Christmas usually consists of a 12-course meal.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I know. I think I'd be stuffed by like the third course. I don't think I'd do 12 courses.
Maybe if you like take one bite of each thing,
right?
And then that's it.
maybe that's how I'd have to do it. Yes. But I can imagine the amazing food that they probably have as well.
Yeah. So. Well, they have borscht for soups.
Yes.
Or I'm probably botching all these words. I apologize. Borscht. Oh gosh, I love soups. Then for that Easter one, they have babka. I think I'm saying that right.
Yes, I've heard that one. So yes, I can tell you that one's correct.
Easter bread. And it's a sweet dough. It's got like dried fruit in it.
Ooh, that sounds good. Sounds like a better alternative to fruitcake.
Oh yes.
Fruitcake.
Yeah. yum stuffs.
I found it.
They had.
Go ahead.
Oh, there was a picture of something that they have that kind of reminds me of Korean mandu. It looks like a little flower thing wrapped around something. I'm not sure what's in it. The name is a bit hard to say. Vareniki or something like that, or pierogi. It's like a dumpling. It's a Ukrainian dumpling.
Pierogies.
Pierogi. Is that how you say it? Okay. Pierogies.
Yes. Well, it's similar to pierogies anyway. Pierogies are closer to like Dutch, I think, in origin. But it's very similar to a pierogi.
Okay.
So
it's got like mashed potatoes.
Yeah. So it's like
meat.
a pastry shell, like mandu or pot stickers or dumplings. And then yes, it's usually either mashed potatoes by themselves or with onions and cheese. Sometimes there's meat ones, and you can either boil them or sometimes they're fried with garlic and onion as well. I have a friend who is Pennsylvania Dutch. So
okay.
So I know. I
was like, how do you know? You must know.
Yeah. This time this is from personal experience. She makes pierogies often. So so I know about.
I really want to try one. I'm just getting hungry thinking about it now.
The store-bought ones aren't too bad. We buy some store-bought ones here because Zeb really likes pierogies as well. So yeah, store-bought ones aren't too bad if you could find them.
Yeah, I'll have to look. There's actually quite a few Ukrainians here in the city I'm in Ladia. They just like immigrated before the war. They just came in for work and stuff. I was leading a class for English with a company called Speak, and one of the students was Ukrainian that had just recently immigrated. That was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, so I should be able to find Ukrainian food around.
I'm sure you could probably just ask them and be like, so where do I find some good food? Or can you teach me?
Teach me your magical food ways, please.
Right? Ciara says that to me sometimes when I post food pictures. Because I make a lot of food from other countries, just so that I'm not always making American food. And I send her pictures because she lives about an hour away from me. But I'll send her pictures and she'll be like, would you stop tormenting me with good food pictures? Because now I'm hungry. And I'm like, if you lived closer, I would feed you. And she's like, I know. And then we remind ourselves that in a year we'll be living in the same country, in the same town, and I'll feed her then.
There you go. 1 hour. That's not too far.
I know, right? Well, I guess no.
For U.S. standards,
I'm about an hour and a half actually from her. But yeah, it's like it's usually like I'm sending her pictures like of dinner. So like she's too tired from work. She's like, I'm not driving an hour and a half to get food from you. And I'm like, that's your loss. I'm so mean sometimes. She's like, that's okay. I'll just keep reminding myself that when we live in Seoul in a year, we'll just cook together and then I'll get to eat it.
There you go.
Yeah, yes, that is how this is going to work.
You're planning to move to Seoul?
Yes. By about this time next year, we'll have graduated with our bachelor's degrees, which is the last thing we need. And we're both certified for teaching English as a foreign language. So our plan is to join 2 of our friends that are already over there.
Awesome.
Who are also teachers over there. So that is our goal anyway.
Awesome.
Yes.
Maybe we'll end up getting to meet in person there because it's on my bucket list to make it to Korea in the next 2 years. I need to go.
A couple of my friends have been like, okay, so I'm going to come visit you and then we'll go see a concert. And I'm like, yeah, good luck getting tickets, but yes, come visit me.
Oh, look, there's a concert. Oh, no, never mind. It just sold out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Instantly. Yep.
That's how it usually goes.
Yep.
Okay. So, let's see. So, yeah, excuse all the coughing. We both have colds that we're just like still lingering with.
Yeah.
So we
That's
apologize.
annoyingly hard to get rid of end of cold things.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I've had mine for, oh gosh, it's like 2 weeks now. But I'm finally like at the end of it where I don't sound like death. So, you know.
I got mine last weekend, so still kind of fresh.
Okay, so let's see. Should we jump into the good stuff that we've been saying about?
Yeah,
The things going on. Should we start with the first thing that happened with the Ukrainian soldiers on that island?
Oh, what happened? I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay. So this is at the very beginning. Like I've heard some people, like when I've mentioned this to some people, they've either heard about it or they haven't. And I will try to find a video of the audio recording from the radio transmission to link when I post this video. Okay. But what happened was when the conflict started, the first place that Russia invaded at was this little border island that has just one small base on it, but like if they captured it they can launch a lot from it, kind of thing. It's a strategic naval base kind of thing. And in the recording you hear the Russian naval ship hailing the island and its guards, and the translation shows that they are basically telling them to surrender, and just like repeating that a couple of times before telling them to please respond. And you hear what sounds like a male Ukrainian officer and a female Ukrainian officer quietly, like in whispers, discussing how they should respond. And you hear one of them say, well, should we? And the other says, well, just in case, if it's the same. And you think they might surrender. But instead, what the male officer says is, Russian forces, go fuck yourselves.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God, they have balls. Like, holy shit.
Hell yeah.
Like that is amazing. Though unfortunately it did result in, of course, the Russian Navy bombing the island, and the 13 soldiers that were on the island are presumed dead as of now. There's been no
but they probably would have been bombing them anyway.
Right, they would have bombed anyway, probably. So like the fact that they were just like, yeah, we're gonna tell them to go fuck off too. Kind of thing. So then building off of that is as the ground forces were coming into Ukraine, they were taking down all of the like metal or wood street signs, so that the Russian
confusing
forces,
them.
The Russian forces couldn't navigate that way then. And they also have like electric road signs. So instead of those displaying the street names or anything, it displays that same message of Russian forces, go fuck yourselves. I'm just like, are we just like pure chaos right now? Is this chaotic good? I don't even know. Like this is just chaotic neutral, I think, actually, at this point. But that was like one of the next things that Zeb actually told me about that one, and then I saw it later on and I was like, that's even better.
I saw a picture of the freeway electric signs being changed.
Yes.
I was like, this is the best.
And then let's see, what other stuff, let me look and see what other stuff we've posted. There was the story about the Ukrainian farmer who used his tractor to steal a Russian tank.
Oh my goodness, I'm amazed he was able to pull it with the tractor.
Well, apparently like like he did it, and then other farmers started doing it, so they've just been stealing tanks now. That's right up there with the guy with the lit cigarette in his mouth with his bare hands taking a landmine from the road
and moving it away. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh.
I saw the article, which is the screenshot that I had shared in the server, and then like a few days ago I saw the actual video of it, and he is just like, you'd think he'd be terrified doing something like that, but no, he is just cool as could be, just as if it's
like
just,
he does that every day.
Yeah, like he's just out for a Sunday stroll or something.
Yeah,
just no,
like,
I
no
have
biggie.
a live landmine in my hands and a lit cigarette dangling from my lips.
Yep.
But I'm just gonna carry this across the street.
Yeah.
Like, the Ukrainian people are no joke.
They deserve some mad respect.
Oh yes, they do. Absolutely. And then there's the
there's
a
there's a brewery.
Oh, yes, the brewery.
In Lviv. Am I saying that? I hope I'm saying that. Lviv. And they,
I don't know.
Lviv. They stopped making the brews, and they started making Molotov cocktails for the residents to throw. And I was like, yes.
Did you read what the label says?
Putin is a dickhead.
Apparently, that's not a new thing. They've been putting that on their labels or similar things for years.
Really?
Really? I told one of my friends about it, and they were like, yeah, that's not new. They've been known for doing such things.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what else? There were some other like chaotic good things like that.
Yeah. There was the old lady chewing out the soldiers.
Oh yeah.
And trying to, was it an old lady? I'm not sure. So she was like trying to shove the sunflower seeds.
Oh yeah. That she basically told them that she wanted to give them sunflower seeds, which is the national flower of Ukraine. So that when they die in Ukraine, their graves will be pretty, at least. It's basically the gist of it. It's like,
at least the flowers would grow
and you're dying.
They could be fertilizer.
Yeah, basically like, you're gonna die here and you're gonna grow some flowers for us that are our flower.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, hell yeah.
The symbolism of that.
Right?
It's just boom.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And then let's see, what else do we have?
There was a group of Ukrainian students getting all mad scientist chemistry in preparing bombs.
Oh yeah,
basement factory. That was.
Yeah, I saw that one. And then the rumors about the ghost of Kiev.
Yes.
Like, nobody can confirm really if this is a thing or if it's just I don't want to say propaganda, but it could be if it's unsubstantiated. But the ghost
for morale.
For morale. The ghost of Kiev is the nickname given to a disputed and unconfirmed MiG-29 Fulcrum flying ace, credited with shooting down 6 Russian planes in the Kiev offensive on February 24th. And then according to the Security Service of Ukraine, he has shot down 10 Russian jets as of February 27th. But there's no confirmation about the pilot or anything. And then like, there were further rumors that the pilot might actually be a woman.
That for me, like, it's just so much more golden if she's a woman.
Right? That's like the icing on the cake right there. Like,
yeah.
It's a female fighter pilot too. Okay.
Yeah, because you kind of hope that's not going to respect any woman.
Right.
It'd be like the biggest fu to Putin.
Oh, right, exactly. That would just be chef's kiss. Let's see. What else? Oh, this one made my daughter laugh when she saw it because I shared it on Facebook too. A team of Russian soldiers wanted to use the elevator to reach the roof of an office building. The Ukrainian administration of the building trapped them inside by cutting off the electricity, and then they used an industrial camera to take a picture of it inside. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 soldiers, I think. What, is that a mirror? I can't tell if it's mirrored or a mirrored elevator.
No mirror. I don't see him. I don't think it says mirror.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's mirror, so I think there is that many. I was trying to count.
Oh, maybe 9.
4,
It's about
5,
9
6.
soldiers in there.
Yeah, I was just recounting because I was like, well, if it's not mirrored, then there's more than what I'm saying. But either way, the fact that they were like, yeah, we're gonna shut off your power and take a picture of you stuck in the elevator because you're dumb.
Get out of our country. Go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that meme that you shared about the things on Earth you can see from space.
Yeah.
So it's a picture. It's got 4 pictures on it, and it says the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Amazon River, the Grand Canyon,
and the balls of Vladimir Zelensky.
Yes. With a picture of him like in their presidential office, it looks like, probably. But yeah, I had seen that before and I was just like, oh, that is too perfect. And then let's see, what else did we
could honestly just put the balls of the Ukrainian people at this point,
right? Like, it's
all absolutely awesome people.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I'm just, oh gosh, I can't imagine being in the situation that they're in, and just to see how unified they are against it.
Right. Yeah. And let's see.
There was even with like experience like this, there was the one that you found about the Olympics.
Oh yeah. It's the Paralympics, actually. The medals that they had won so far.
While this war is ongoing, and they're still out there just putting all forth to work through this sort of thing that's going on while having to be at your top game for a competition.
Yeah, let's see here. So yes, the post says, while the war is raging at home, Ukrainians rocked today in Beijing on the opening day of the Paralympic Winter Games 2022. Ukraine had won 7 medals in the biathlon discipline, and I'm not going to try and pronounce anybody's names because I know I'm going to butcher them. But they had 3 gold, 3 silver, and 1 bronze.
They did great.
Yes.
And to be able to place it all when you know that your home is being like destroyed for no reason, it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And that they still went out there and made their country proud. It's beautiful.
Yes. And we've seen other instances of neighboring countries now doing what they can to help as well. And I think I shared the Instagram reel and that screenshot from Instagram.
There was the strollers, the one with the strollers.
Yeah, the strollers was the screenshot one. That in Poland, Polish mothers left strollers, baby strollers, at the train station for Ukrainian mothers who may need them when they arrive in Poland with children. And then there was another one. I think I'd only sent the link, or maybe I didn't. It was probably further back. In Germany, in one of the train stations in Germany, as refugees were arriving, they were greeted by thousands of Germans with signs either in multiple languages or just pictures on them. But every single one of those Germans was offering shelter to the refugees. And the signs were telling them how many people they could take into their homes.
Yeah, we have a similar thing going here in Portugal too, where there's you can sign up to volunteer your space for families coming in, and there's a huge need. One lady was posting on Facebook saying, "Oh, I put my house up for the list, and I mean, like right away, 3 families need a home." So she's asking if other people can join.
Yeah,
We have a lot of mothers and children coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of like women and children are leaving while the men stay to fight, which makes sense, of course.
It does.
And then let's
see.
Some
women are staying as well.
Yeah, some women are staying, definitely. I've seen some of the videos with the female soldiers, with them staying to fight. And let's see, along the lines of housing the refugees, Airbnb and Airbnb.org are working with our hosts to house up to 100,000 refugees fleeing from Ukraine for free. All stays are free for the refugees, funded by Airbnb, Airbnb.org owners, and through the generosity of hosts. You can donate on Airbnb.org directly to that fund, and Airbnb is not taking any fees from that money. Their hosts are not taking any of that money. All of the fees are waived for both the refugees and the hosts. So it is entirely free, and it helps house all the refugees that are coming.
Yeah. I thought that was like a really, really awesome thing of Airbnb to do.
Yes.
I wish more companies would step up and help out with that. With sorry, with helping out the refugees. Some of the other things that have been happening in this city, we have a big a football stadium, and there's a bunch of rooms in it. They converted those into places to stay for the refugees, temporary, but to help them get acclimated.
Yeah.
And there's other such setups in the other cities here.
Nice.
And they're trying to reunite family, because there's a lot of immigrants already spread out through Europe, so they're trying to help their family members get across to them. And we've had multiple caravans leaving, and we're talking semi trucks full of stuff, not just from Portugal, but from other countries too. They're just driving up there to take all the relief goods they can. And the other caravans bring back people. They take the goods and they're bringing back people. It's just out of the goodness of their hearts, wanting to be out there and help out.
Yeah.
And all that with the rising prices of gas. So it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop them.
Let's see, what else was up here? In terms of like other corporations and the things they're doing, this one actually got talked about in a K-pop server that that I'm in. This I think is already like international news, that McDonald's is closing all 800 of their stores in Russia.
Oh, yes. I saw briefly about that.
Well, so Putin's response to that was that he's going to repeal or whatever, abolish, I'm not sure which word is better, the copyright infringement laws in Russia. Wow. So that people can take over those buildings and basically serve fake McDonald's.
Wow.
Yeah.
They probably were already doing that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know, but that was kind of one of those, really, that's gonna be your response? Somehow I'm not surprised either, though. Like,
yeah, that's the best he's got. Yep.
Right? That's pretty much. And then somebody shared, this was last week, so as of March 4th, a lot of global companies have left the Russian market. I recognize a number of these, but I don't recognize all of them, so I'll definitely put the full picture up on the video when I post this. But for the energy and aviation industry, You have BP, ExxonMobil, Shell, Boeing, Lufthansa, and among others in that category. In engineering, Volvo, BMW, Ford, Volkswagen, Audi, Jaguar, Mercedes, Honda, trying to see what other ones I recognize, Land Rover, Mazda, and a couple of others. For finance and logistics, there's only a few that I recognize out of all of them. FedEx, UPS, and DHL are among them. In goods and services, you have, again, among others, you have Nike, Adidas, H&M, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Lego, Amazon, Sony, Disney. And for tech companies, quite a few of the major ones. Dell, Apple, Nokia, Samsung, Zoom, which is ironic because we filmed this in Zoom. Nikon, Canon, Toshiba, Xerox, IBM, Intel, Spotify, among a lot of others. So like a lot of big companies are pulling out or not doing business there right now.
Yeah.
Which, like, when you think about it, that's something that they'll take a hit on as well.
Yeah.
But it's going to have the intended effect.
Oh yeah.
So like
For
they're doing it for a reason, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I can't recall the time when there's been this many corporations and countries and people in general just all united to block out another government for in this way.
Right. And I think that this being a more digital and more connected age plays a factor in that, because the world is much more connected now in a lot of ways, not just with communication, but like our economies are tied to each other a lot too. Yeah. So like it's kind of one of those,
the news spreads.
Yeah, the news spreads a lot faster too.
Yeah, it's not like, and it's not filtered all the time through just whatever we see on the news. Like you can actually dig it up and see what's really going on.
Right.
My husband has been looking at, there's a Reddit channel that like shows what's like detailed stuff going on. So they're not holding back. They're letting you know how serious it is. It's like, if you want to know the truth, you can find it now, because it's not out of reach. You can really find these things. Yeah.
Unless you're in Russia.
Unless you're in Russia.
They banned Facebook the other day. So
they did. Oh
yes. So like they're starting to restrict even more free media as well.
And for me, it trips me out. Like, how does he think that's going to work? I mean, if somebody told me, "Oh, you can't have access to," I'm going to be suspicious. Like, well, why? Like,
right?
Why would you tell me no?
So that gets into one of the other links that we shared about the Russian POWs that have been captured. That I'm trying to find the link again in all of this. Where is it? No, that's not it. Oh, there it is. No, it was further down. I found it. Okay. So this is an article from The Guardian, and it talks about Russian soldiers who were either captured or turned themselves over to Ukrainian forces. And it has transcripts of video interrogation that was done by a Ukrainian military member with Russian officers that were captured. And the Ukrainian asks, what message would the soldier like to send to his fellow soldiers and to Russians back home? And it says, quote, frankly speaking, they tricked us. Everything we were told was a fake. I would tell my guys to leave Ukrainian territory. We've got families and children. I think 90% of us would agree to go home, end quote. And it goes on to talk about how they were told that this would be over within a matter of days, that they would be welcomed as liberators and heroes. And that it says, quote, Russian forces were expecting flowers and cheers, not bullets and bombs, end quote. They thought that they were on a military exercise. They were told, let's see, one other soldier is quoted as saying, since 2014, the Russian government has been brainwashing its population with propaganda. They try and make Russia believe Ukraine is not a real country and says fascist monsters have captured it. So the Russian people thought that Ukraine was basically under the control of like neo-Nazis, it says later on. And that's why they thought, oh, we're going to be liberators, we're setting them free, bringing them back into Mother Russia, it's going to be so easy, kind of thing. And then it wasn't. And they were only given supplies and fuel for 2 to 3 days, and we're now entering the 3rd week. Actually, I think we're almost to the 4th week now.
It's
so
been quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And I hear they're not even treated well by their own military.
No, they're not.
They are cannon fodder. That was what that last link that you said.
The one that I posted just a few hours ago. Even in the article that I'm quoting right now, there is the interrogator is asking that same prisoner, so what do you think? Are you soldiers of the strong Russian army or cannon fodder? And the prisoner replies, we are cannon fodder. And he asks then, was it worth it? And the soldier says, no. So I can't imagine a worse way to find out that your government and your military lied to you, but also then just sent you in unprepared and ill-equipped into a foreign country that doesn't want you there. Like,
and still expects you to comply.
Right. And because they don't have any more food, like they ran out of food and everything weeks ago, they're literally surrendering or walking all the way back to Russia because they're starving.
Yeah. They're just treated as exactly as the mothers were shouting. They're treated as cannon fodder.
Yes. The article that Kargara is referencing is one I shared a couple of hours ago that I found, that the title says, angry Russian mothers shout back at Siberian governor calling the war a special operation. There's footage of it
was a council?
Out of a region in Siberia that shows mothers shouting down the region's governor as he's speaking about President Putin's invasion of Ukraine, calling it a special military operation rather than a war. which has been the official line of Russia from the beginning. And then let's see. It says mothers in particular are expressing extreme dissatisfaction with the way their sons have been thrown into the conflict without knowing where they were going or why, accusing the Kremlin of using their children as cannon fodder. And it says,
and I imagine most of these moms only found out because the POWs were allowed to call them.
Yes, like that's the thing, is the Ukrainian military is actually taking very good care of the Russian soldiers because they know that these soldiers aren't there willingly and that they were lied to and everything. So they are showing a lot of compassion towards the enemy right now, which is incredible.
It says so much about Ukrainians.
It really does. But yes, like they've been allowing POWs to use their phones to call home, and like when the mothers find out that their sons are in Ukraine, like they're baffled and they break down crying, as do the soldiers. And Ukraine has actually set up a phone line so that Russian families can call in and try to find their soldier, and soldiers who have turned themselves over or been captured can call home and let people know that they're okay, kind of thing. And stuff like that. That's some crazy shit right there too.
It really is. It's gosh. Like Ukrainian knows. Not Ukrainian. Ukraine knows what Russia's about. It knows that the Russian people are as much victims in this because of the way Putin treats people. I mean, Putin is a monster. There's no other way around it. He
really is. Let's see. From the article, it says one of the women is quoted as saying, "We were all deceived, all deceived. They were sent there as cannon fodder. Why were our boys sent there? They were not trained. Look at these boys. They're 20 years old." And when the governor tried to deny that anyone was deceived, the mothers were not having it, rightly so. And one mother asked, "Where is your son, by the way?" And he pauses and then says, "My son is studying at university." His own son isn't part of this.
Yeah. But so that says something. It's like, oh, well, yeah, clearly you don't believe in this war. You know exactly what your kid would be treated as. So of course you wouldn't let him go.
Right. Yep. And a little further down, as he's trying to regain control of the meeting and everything, he also has a little slip of the tongue as well, where he says, "This is a special operation, and at the moment, nobody can give comments about the special operation. These guys were used. ...
They didn't let him finish. I mean, I wonder how this word sounds or what its like deep, its extra meaning is in Russian.
Right?
For the moms to pick up on that real fast, like, holy crap.
Right. Because then another mother shouts, "Used? So our children were used?" And he tries to, like, you know, backpedal and everything, and says, you know, we can't draw any conclusions about it or criticize the military operation, assuring the crowd that the fighting will, quote, "end very soon." And somebody else, just as the video ends, yells, "When everyone is killed."
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah, that one was
that last line for me is like, I mean, I think that's what Putin's endgame.
Yeah. I don't
very soon. He just wants them all to die and he'll take over. That's what he wants.
Yeah. But they're not going to make that easy.
Yep. And I really hope that he fails.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What were some other more... I don't want to say, trying to refrain from using the phrase lighthearted in all of this, because well, these are really like touching stories as well. Like
the context is heavy.
Yes, the
It's
context
really
is heavy. Oh, another company that has done their part. Google realized that Google Maps was being used to reveal troop movements, so they disabled Google Maps in Ukraine. So nobody can use that to track movements as well. And
this is so good that they did that.
Let's see. Yeah, it is really good.
But it might have also been able to help Ukrainian forces see where the Russians were at as well.
Yeah, it's got kind of a double-edged sword on that one. So
yeah,
I think the Ukrainian people would prefer nobody see Ukraine. Kind of thing. Let's see. The entire European Union has banned Russian flights from their airspace, among other countries. And then, oh, right, with the Polish National Football Association and their national team. For the Americans, that's soccer, not American football. Just gonna make that distinction.
Because it has to be made. It's getting very confusing to talk in Europe about football. Wait, not that football.
Right, yes. It says, we, the players of the Polish national team, together with the Polish Football Association, decided that as a result of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, we do not intend to play in the playoff match against Russia. It is not an easy decision, but there are more important things in life than football. Our thoughts are with the Ukrainian nation and our friend from the national team, who is still in Kiev with his family.
Nice.
Yes. And then there was it a tennis player? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Russian tennis player Andrei Rublev writes, "No war, please," on the camera after he wins in Dubai. So he walked up to the cameraman and wrote on the camera lens,
yeah,
"No war, please." What else has there been? Trying to see what else. A lot of national monuments around the world have changed their color schemes to the blue and yellow of
the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I just saw that.
And there's a castle in our city that has it. There's been a whole bunch.
Yeah, there has been. And like really that's a great way of showing that they have support too.
Yeah. There's been a lot of candlelight visuals, and the Ukrainian communities that are already abroad have been gathering and sharing their culture with their dances and singing the anthem. And then there was the Korean singer, I think he posted that one. The Korean singer sang the anthem for solidarity.
Did I post that?
I don't remember. Maybe I saw that on Facebook.
Because I think I heard about it, but I don't think I've seen any video or anything. But yeah, there was a Korean, an older Korean idol who sang the Ukrainian national anthem.
Yeah. And then I saw a picture just a few hours ago of Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he was accepting an award, and he brought the Ukrainian flag with him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then the tweet by Dee Snider about "we're not gonna take it."
Yeah.
That one I thought was just so like on the nose. The quote reads, or the tweet reads, "People are asking me why I endorsed the use of 'we're not gonna take it' for the Ukrainian people and did not for the anti-maskers here in America. Well, one use is for the righteous battle against oppression. The other is an infantile feet stomping against an inconvenience."
Yep. Couldn't have been said any better.
Right?
It's sad that it had to be said at all. Like if people were complaining about like, seriously, how
Right?
do they
Yes.
draw any kind of people?
And then let's see. We have some humanitarian aid services going on. You posted one
Loads.
about animal shelters, I think.
Yep. Animal shelters are pulling together to help get the animals out and help deal with, of course, trying to bring them across borders, because that's a whole nother thing too. So there's one in Portugal that's gathered together for that, to bring supplies, I think, as well. And of course, helping bring the families over. There's a lot of like civilian level stuff going on Facebook groups. You'll see people, oh, like I know these people and they're looking for a way to get over here because they have family. So people are just really pulling together with their resources. My daughter's school, she's in preschool, and her teacher's awesome. She put together, they had a little thing and they were all waving Ukrainian flags and singing for solidarity. And yeah, I was like, I'm so happy to see that the kids could be involved, because it's hard to talk about the situation with the kids.
Right,
And
yeah.
in the US, I don't know if the kids are seeing a lot of it, but the news is on all the time here, and they don't hold back details in Europe. They will show the details. I'm talking, you will see a dead body, you will see blood on the news. And my kids have been seeing that. So they're asking questions.
At least in our house, we don't have like cable or satellite or anything. We just have streaming services. So our kids don't see the news in general. But when this all started, because Kira is in middle school, almost high school, she'll be high school next year, God. For the first quarter of the school year, she did have a current events class where they had to like bring in a news story every class, and they would all discuss it and everything. So when this started, I wasn't sure if she still had that class, which she didn't. She's in a different class now. But I told her what was going on, and she had questions, of course, as most kids will. And I explained it to her of like why Russia is doing what they're doing, but also kind of like what we're doing here tonight, giving more information about the world's response and the Ukrainian people's response and their resilience. So I told her about those soldiers on the island and what they told the Russians, and she was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, they're dead now, but it was worth it. Kind of thing. And she's like, well, that's sad that they're dead, but yeah, that was cool. And I'm like, that's what all of their street signs say now too. And she's like, that's even cooler, Mom. And so like I've told her little updates here and there, a lot of the good stuff, like the Polish mothers leaving the strollers and a lot of things like that, so that she understands that it's not all bad. There's good happening with this as well. Kind of thing. So she's more informed, I think, than probably most kids her age, honestly. And AJ,
it's sad. I think the kids should all be involved.
I really do. Yeah. Like, and while we say that as mothers, we're both mothers, and we do say that, we say so in an age appropriate way. Like, obviously you don't want to be telling little ones every single horrible detail,
not
kind
that
of thing,
no. But showing them that, oh, there are children who are not, they're going through something horrible. Is there something you'd like to send? And there's been some kids that send letters. They'll draw a picture and a letter to go along with the boxes of relief towards the families there. We just at the school that my daughter's at, we pulled together some snacks for the kids that are going to be coming back on the bus that's going. I think that group's led by the firefighters out of here. So there's little things like that. I think all the schools across everywhere should be doing something like this to show support for the children, especially to have this kind of a visual solidarity from other children who are saying, I think that would mean a lot.
Maybe I'll ask our school district if we're doing anything or if they can organize something. Because usually they announce when there's something like that going on, but they haven't so far. So I don't know if they've really considered doing anything or if they know where to begin or anything. So maybe I'll ask their principal. Because our conversation before we officially started this, that vice principal is now the principal of the middle school. So like I have good rapport with him from a lot of things, not just that incident, but from a lot of things. So I can email him very easily and be like, so are you guys considering doing anything for this kind of thing? So maybe I'll email him and be like, ask about it. Whereas like both of my kids are in middle school at the same school, but AJ, because he's only in 5th grade, he doesn't have like a current events class or anything like that, other than like history class. So I don't know how much he's hearing about it at school or anything. But he hears parts of the conversations that I have with Kira. He doesn't always pay attention, so he doesn't hear everything, I don't think. But he's still exposed to the conversations, and sometimes if he hears enough of it, he'll ask something or make a comment kind of thing. So it's not like we hide anything from our kids in this house either. So there's always information for them if they want it, kind of thing.
It'd be cool to see more schools doing things. It's not just the kids who are still stuck out there, but even the kids who make it to refugee points. Like I'm not sure if the US is taking in refugees. I didn't check for that.
I actually don't know. I haven't checked either. I would assume that we are. But let me check.
I would certainly hope so.
Let's take a look. Let's look at this. What does it say?
Just to like show them they're not alone.
Right.
There's a lot of ways, especially now. We have the internet fully at our command.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking to see if this article will tell me.
Did you see that video of the girl who was singing the Let It Go song?
Yes, I did.
I started crying a little bit watching that video.
Right. And then there was one that it was a little girl's birthday and they made her like a little cupcake and sang happy birthday to her and everything.
Yeah. It's just so, these little things, they really tied. But the one in the bunker when she was singing that one, like I don't like the Let It Go song, but just to see, I felt her singing was inspiration. It was a way of comforting everyone around her. And I'm like, did she know that? Did she know what she was doing when she did this? That she was going to bring this much comfort to the people in that room. And whether she did or not, it was such a beautiful thing to see. Let's
see. And there was a story about an 11-year-old boy who walked like 600 miles by himself with just like his passport and his parents' phone number written on his hand. And I don't remember which neighboring country it was now that he walked to, but he has relatives there, and that's why they sent him there. But both parents were staying to fight, but they wanted him to be safe, so they sent him out. And like as soon as he arrived, there were volunteers there to like help him find his relatives and everything, and stuff like. But he just like he had the biggest smile on his face the entire time and stuff. So like it was just like, oh. And let's see. It does look like It does look like we will accept Ukrainian refugees, but so far it looks like they're not traveling this far. They're mostly staying within European countries. So, so yeah, it doesn't look like there are many coming this far, at least.
At least
right
not
now.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the majority so far, I think, are still in just the directly neighboring countries.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Romania. I should call her up and ask her what's up. See how they're doing. She probably has quite a few details going on about, about the situation there.
Yeah, I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
And then let's see. There are a lot of like celebrities and other like famous people raising money for charities as well. I didn't realize that Mila Kunis is Ukrainian.
I had no idea either.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that she was born there even. Like, and she lived there for the first 8 years of her life before they immigrated to the US. So her and Ashton are doing a fundraiser, and they said that they'll donate $3 million of their own money in addition to whatever else is raised. And the last update on their fundraiser that I saw was that it had hit $17 million already.
Wow.
And then another one that I was surprised to find out that their Ukrainian descent is Leonardo DiCaprio. His grandmother was Ukrainian. So he has also got a fundraiser going on.
Wow.
And then what else did I see him? I saved a lot of screenshots to my phone too, so I'm trying to like scroll through that as well. Let's see.
Apparently Mila Jovovich is also Ukrainian.
Oh, I don't think I would have figured that one out either.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? Oh, and then if refugees are going even as far as like the UK and Ireland, Eurostar, which is a train line in the UK, will let Ukrainian refugees travel for free on its trains. And then Ireland has lifted all visa requirements for Ukrainians entering Ireland effective immediately.
Nice.
So that's one place that they will also be able to get to easily, at least. Well, get into easily, I should say. Not necessarily get
and
to.
then I think other countries are also like trying to give like fast pass access for Ukrainian refugees to get resources and visas in their countries. Portugal's on that list. I think it's visas.
Let's see.
So.
Oh yeah, here's the screenshot. I was trying to find the one from Leonardo DiCaprio. He donated $10 million of his own money to Ukraine. And then Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively have also participated in fundraising, and have pledged to donate double the amount that will be raised. So awesome. They're not going stingy either on it, which is awesome. Absolutely. Let's see, what else do I have on my phone? Oh, the Pokemon Company International also made an immediate donation of 200,000 US dollars to their partners at Global Giving to provide humanitarian relief. It's a nonprofit that efficiently directs funds for community-led organizations to help support families and children affected by the crisis. And let's see, what else do I have?
The Weeknd committed 1 million to the World Food Program
Nice.
to support the organization's efforts.
I like
that's
his
just around the
music.
world. But in addition to that is a 500,000 direct donation. And the artist will match up to 500K from his upcoming tour. And the funds are used to support Ukrainian refugees. That extra
Nice.
additional, yeah.
That's good.
I only found out who that was like last week. I was like, what is
You
this
didn't know
cool
who The
song on-
Weeknd is? Really?
Yeah, I live under a rock. I heard a song on the radio and I was like, ooh, this sounds fun. And then I looked up like The Weeknd. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff for sure. I like
Yeah.
his music.
I need to get out more.
Yeah, you do. I say that as like most of my music is now K-pop and has been for the last like 2 years, so I shouldn't judge.
Mostly I've just been listening to like focus music on YouTube, like ADHD focus music.
Oh gosh,
it
yeah,
works
right?
for me.
Like I need, okay, what, oh, this is gonna sidetrack us, but I feel you.
All right, let's see, shall we? Okay, gonna try to bring it back in.
Right?
Where were we? Okay.
We were going through the rest of like the humanitarian stuff. I don't think I have any other ones. I think
did you get Kit Harington?
Oh no, I hadn't seen Kit Harington.
Let's see, what is he's on the list I see here. Oh, he helped join some other actors and they raised 120 million for the Disasters Emergency Committee.
Damn.
So they are supporting the Ukrainian relief effort.
Nice.
So Jon Snow, it seems you know something after all.
Right. Oh, there was one other thing that I had. One other like feel good moment. A lady from Latvia, along with like a group of volunteers, has been driving to Ukraine every day to rescue homeless cats.
Oh, that's super sweet.
I know.
Oh. What does she do? Where did she send them to? Like different shelters or?
Let me see. I might have to find the article again. I just have a screenshot. Yeah, I'll have to find the article again. Let me see if I can find it quick from the Facebook page it was on. It's not what I want.
Ukraine. I hope many, like next year, hopefully in the next few days, this ends and Ukraine's are on the top side of it. And after things have gone, they're able to come, like in a year's time, they'll be back to where they were before all this nonsense, this horrible, needless war.
Yeah. Okay, so I did find the article. And it says, let's see. She is rescuing homeless cats and dogs in Ukraine and taking them across the border into Poland and Latvia until the war is over. Let's see. Let's see if it tells me anything else about her. She's not only taking animals back, but when she comes into Ukraine, she brings food as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Not coming in empty-handed.
Looks like she's working with an animal sanctuary in Lviv, if I'm saying that right, to help with owners who are surrendering their pets in hopes of keeping them safe, as well as just any other homeless ones that they're finding. So yeah, she's doing pretty good too.
That's good.
Yeah.
There was a picture somewhere I saw of another lady, I think in Ukraine, who's trying to get the disabled dogs out, I think.
Oh yeah, I think I
Did
heard
you-
about
did you
that one
see that
too. I don't think I posted that one, but I've heard about it. Yeah, where she's working with some of the shelters to try um to get some of them out, and like she's gone in and just like carried them out herself and stuff.
Yeah. See if I can find it. Oops. Yep. Young Prince Anastasia Yamanskaya. Oh no, that's a different person. That person was killed trying to bring food to dog shelters.
Oh, I did hear about that one too. That yeah, she was trying to bring food into dog shelters to surrendered animals that were basically just abandoned at the shelter. Like there's no staff there,
Yeah.
and she's
And they
just
were,
trying to feed them basically, and Russian soldiers shot her.
yeah, deliberately.
Yes.
They're just outright going after civilians. I mean, how much, how cowardly do you have to be to do that?
Right? Or heartless too, really.
Yeah, absolutely heartless. So, ugh, gosh. There's another one. European. I can't find it now. I saw it like earlier today, and now I can't. Oh man. There was like a picture of her standing with a bunch of dogs in wheelchairs. It was like two in wheelchairs, and the rest are still, or maybe three. It's hard to tell from the picture. Irpin, Kiev region area. So she's quite close to some pretty hostile areas. Brave people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that if I ever find myself in a situation like this, that I can be even half as brave.
Me
as
too.
people.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage for what
Yeah.
they're doing. It's definitely like, even if in my normal life it can be a fraction of their courage.
Yeah. They're inspirational.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else more to share from what I was looking for. There are some grandmas that were doing some baking.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that too. Because in Ukrainian culture, this is going back to the food conversation earlier. In Ukrainian culture, a meal is not considered complete if it doesn't have bread.
Oh, that's a good culture.
Right?
bread is life.
Right? You'll never
Yeah.
catch me without carbs, that's for sure.
And European bread in general is next level. Man, I did not know what true bread tasted like until I tried it in Europe. It is so good.
Yes.
So good. Also extremely dangerous for my hips, but
right.
So
True.
I can't stop eating your dirt. I don't know what it is. It's something in the flour that I don't know where they're getting it from. It tastes different. Yeah. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, I think that's everything that I had to share anyway. So
Yeah. Are people talking about it, about the war in your town?
not so much in my town, I don't think. We're a pretty small town. But the town next to us is a college town. So one of
sure they are.
One of the state universities is next town over from us. So I'm sure they are. And a couple of friends and I talk about it every so often as things come up, kind of thing. We talk about some of the things we've talked about here tonight, of like the uplifting stuff, and then just like, because two of us are moms, and the other one, she's practically raised her nieces and nephews, honestly. So she's got that mom mentality too. So like, as mothers, as we're seeing the stories of, you know, all of the children that are affected, and like the family separations and everything, it really like pulls at the mom side of you. Of just, you know, what it would be like to have to either try to stay in the country and hope your child stays safe, or like that boy whose parents sent him 600 miles to relatives in another country, like, and you hope your kid makes it there okay too. Like, like there's so many unimaginable situations that like
the desperation of that situation alone.
Really, it's all about desperation over there right now.
But through it all, it feels like they're remaining very hopeful, and they're not losing that optimism.
Right. And I think a lot of that, I think a lot of that is coming from seeing the world's support, that the rest of us aren't just doing nothing. We're not just letting Putin do this. We're doing what we can. And
even if the larger government entities have their hands tied in the matter, the rest of us are like, well, we're going to do it. And there's people who are volunteering. They're just saying, you know what, I'm going to go join the Ukrainian army. They're just going over there and signing up.
Right. Yeah. There's actually there's a member in the K-pop Discord who I believe it's her fiance's friend, that is basically just waiting for his passport. Like, he expedited his passport so that he can go over there and join the Ukrainian military and fight for them.
Awesome.
Well, they're a little questioning his motives, but like they think that they think that people who are going over there and fighting, who are in their right mind, are commendable. Like, they support that. But it sounds like maybe this friend isn't quite so stable. So they've tried to talk him out of it, but he is very set on going over there and trying to, I don't know, win glory, be a hero kind of thing. So hopefully that friend of theirs comes back safely and everything.
And hopefully, even if he's going there with the wrong motives, hopefully he gets his mind in the right place once he sees on the ground what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
Seeing things on the news and then seeing them in person, it really changes your perspectives.
It really does. Yes.
It's one thing to watch a bomb go off on a screen, and another thing altogether to feel it rattle your entire body as it whizzes past you. So it changes people.
It does. Yes. It really does.